Well, the folks at Schrade have been coming up with some really cool stuff lately, and the knife I have for you today is no exception. In fact, I think Survival on Purpose is the first channel to get one of these to review, and so I believe this will be the worldwide YouTube debut of this knife, and it is the SCHF59. This knife features G10 handles, high carbon steel, the really cool sheath system I think you're going to like, coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, like I said, I think this is the first time this knife has been shown on YouTube. The folks at Schrade were kind enough to send me this so I could show it to you. This is the SCHF59. Really cool knife. Features some slightly unusual features from Schrade. First of all, it is 65 MN steel, which is very similar to 1066 high carbon. It is a low alloy carbon steel, so that's a little different. G10 handles, full Tang obviously. It does have jimping, but the jimping is pretty subdued, and you know that's going to make me happy. The other thing that's really cool about this knife is it comes with what they're calling mosquitoes. January, go figure. Sorry, comes with what they're calling thermoplastic sheath, which is very similar to Kydex. You can see that it snaps in pretty positively, and then it also has a removable ferro rod loop on it with a ferro rod. And they actually give you some little spacers to go in here and take up the space if you don't want to use the ferro rod holder. I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but some folks might not. I do want to point out that because of the way the sheath is attached here, there's another great feature to this knife, and that is the sheath is ambidextrous. Finally, I know a lot of people ask about it, and by doing the sheath like this, they made this completely ambidextrous. You just remove these little Phillips head screws here, turn this thing around, and you got a left-hand sheath. So you got to give it a Schrade for that. It locks in very good. You can sling it out if you really try, if you put enough force on it. I've done that, but it locks in pretty good and pushes off very easily. Feels really good in your hands and feels very well balanced. We will check that out in a minute. So without a lot of further rambling, I want to get right to doing some of that knife stuff, and we'll talk about the specs while we're doing the knife stuff. Try something a little different this time. Before we get to doing too much of the knife stuff, real quick, we'll just talk about the specs. The overall length of this knife is 8.4 inches. With a blade length of 3.8 inches and a weight of 6.2 ounces. So it's a pretty, and I'd say it's a little less, ants are all over me, a little less than 1/8 of an inch wide at the widest part of the spine. And it's got kind of a swedge here at the top, so it kind of narrows down a little bit. The spine does not feel really sharp, but they give you a ferro rod, so we're going to obviously try that. But it's a full Tang knife. I like the fact that the handle is kind of thin, so not really beefy handle, but for a low profile, you know, less than 1/2 pound, 6 ounces, this could be a great in a medium-sized survival kit, or just a great all-around knife. So without any more rambling, let's go ahead and see what we can do with this thing. First of all, we'll do a little cross baton, maybe just to see if we can how well it'll bang through a piece of wood here. And so here we go. Let's just do it. Okay, so no damage to the edge, and you know, that's probably a lot more difficult. Not probably, there's no doubt about it. G10 handles are not loose. Maybe just a slight tiny bit, maybe right there of movement, but that's I find that a lot with G10 handles. You can tighten them up really easily. So let's go ahead and split this out here a little bit. See if we can just do a little different stuff here. I can tell you that stabbing, the edges of that handle, you can see my hand, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you know, it's not real comfortable for that, but that's really probably not the primary intended function of a knife either. So we've got some short pieces here we're going to try to do some feathers on, just see how well that works. Real quickly, we'll make some feathers. It is dry. and it's not the best feathering wood in the world. We've had that conversation before, I'm sure. Probably need to get some more wood. So instead of trying to leave these on, we're just going to make a pile of curls here. See if we can get something that'll catch a little fire going here. Try to use all parts of the blade. So use the tip of it down here. So the tip here does not seem as sharp as the belly. And it could be because there's less room for the angle. I guess the angle is steeper here. I don't know. It could be because I don't know what I'm talking about too, but it just feels that way to me. Okay, so we got some small, tiny curls here. Let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so the knife comes with a ferro rod. Should be able to strike it. I'm scraped the paint off of it, and let's see what we got. First of all, not really doing a great job. This spine, as I was a little concerned, is not really very sharp, and it'll get a spark, but man, it's just not very much. You see that we got nothing, absolutely nothing. So we're going to give this one a pretty much a fail on the ferro rod. Okay, well, the carving did pretty well on the carving, I have to say. Really have no complaints about that. Seemed like this part of the knife was sharper than that part, but you know, that's fine, whatever. I don't have a problem sharpening a knife. I like the jimping not being too aggressive. We batoned it through a pretty solid piece of wood, no problem. Where it really started falling down was with the spine. Does not have a good 90-degree spine. So even though they provide you with a ferro rod and a ferro rod holder here, you're gonna have something else to strike it with. So, in my estimation, you know, maybe they need to revisit that and do a little better job of sharpening that spine. But you know, it may get better as the coating wears off. It's a pretty tough coating, but it'll certainly get better when I hit it with a file. So, but the one thing that has not been tested to my satisfaction yet is the balance. And since that is pretty much an industry standard component of any knife test, you know, we got to do that, right? Again, pretty decent, pretty decent. It's one thing I wanted to try. Going off the deep end here, okay? So really want to check the how well the sheath holds. Okay, I'm just being plain silly now, but you see, first of all, a couple of miscalibrations on the sheath throw. Got the pine sap all over it, and the G10 handles took a licking, and they're still pretty solid. They might need a little bit of tightening, but that's pretty common when you're banging G10 around during the calibration process. So there you go. That's the Schrade SCHF59 with the thermoplastic ambidextrous sheath, ferro rod holder, G10 handles, 65 MN high carbon steel, and it did everything really well except for striking a ferro rod. So there's a lot of very popular knives out there that won't strike a ferro rod. But I gotta say, if you're gonna put a ferro rod and a ferro rod holder on it, fire steel, whatever you want to call it, then I think it would be best if they would work on that spine just a little bit. But either way, I'm liking this little knife a whole lot, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Once again, thanks to Schrade for sending me this so I can show it to you. And thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing, for clicking that thumbs up, for watching all those ads, for doing all your Amazon shopping through Survival on Purpose links. And be sure and check out my Instagram. It is survival_on_purpose. I'm trying to do more on Instagram and put pictures of what's coming up, so hopefully that'll be helpful to you. Anyway, once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time. Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore.